Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Southern Virginia University men's soccer today here from the fields at Southern Virginia University. I'm Jim Bresnahan, joined by Mike Harmon as we get ready to bring you the Knights of Southern Virginia taking on Widener in men's soccer action. The Knights, of course, coming off that tough loss to Washington Lee, Mike, on Wednesday, a game that was tied 1-1 late in the game, but the Generals were able to score a couple of goals in the final 10 minutes to pull away for a 3-1 win. Today, the Knights take on Widener.
Yeah, both teams are looking for their first win, so someone will come out very happy. We've seen the Knights, as far as score-wise, get closer and closer to their opponents, so hopefully they've been able to work on some things in practice, and we'll see them come out victorious today.
Knights come in with a record of 0-4 in the season, and you go back to that Washington Lee game on Wednesday again. The Knights were able to tie it in the second half after trailing most of the game 1-0, and then watch that 1-1 tie kind of fade away with a couple of late goals by Washington Lee. You get the feeling the Knights came away with some mixed emotions, feeling pretty good about battling Washington Lee, but obviously giving up those 2 goals late.
Yeah, you never want to lose, especially when you played as hard as they did. But they have to be a little bit encouraged. It did get in the last 10 minutes, and I'm sure the Knights were pressing a little bit more than they really wanted to, and gave up those easy goals. And
as folks just saw there, as the lineups are coming out onto the field now, Mullibaugh, obviously, not in the uniform, so he won't be playing again today.
No, they're going to start. He's going to start running under the direction of our athletic training staff on Monday, and they're going to see how his ankle's really coming about, and hopefully, he said, maybe Wednesday or even next Saturday.
So possibly our next men's webcast on Wednesday against Roanoke, he might be playing.
Maybe, but they're going to be very cautious with him because they want him for the conference season.
And, of course, our next webcast beyond this will be, I believe, coming up next Wednesday. Actually, it'll be Randolph. It'll be women's soccer action. The men will be playing Roanoke on Thursday, the 20th, but we've got, again, coming up next Wednesday, women's soccer action against Randolph. And the women are actually in action tonight. They were in action last night as well.
Yeah, they were down at Lynchburg in a tournament down there. Lost 3-0 to Roanoke. Roanoke's a very good team in the ODAC. Today, though, at 7:30, they'll be taking on the defending national champions. Although Lynchburg did lose a lot of seniors, they have reloaded, so it's going to be a great test for the Knights.
And we'll keep you up to date on volleyball action, too, because we had a lot of volleyball action for the Knights on Friday and also this morning and this afternoon as well.
Yeah, volleyball's over at Washington and Lee in their tournament. They played yesterday against Berry and Averett. Unfortunately, lost both of those games or matches, and then today they're playing at Washington and Lee versus Washington and Lee, and last time we checked they were down 2-0.
Okay, and football, of course, off, waiting for their first home game next Saturday against Frostburg. Mike, as far as the Knights starting lineup today, any big changes from the Washington Lee game on Wednesday?
Just a few minor ones, but we're just going to see a lot of the same players. Starting in goal for the Knights will be number 32, Keenan Carroll, and then we have number 3, Tristan Longren, number 4, Sam Horman. Number 6, Gabriel Ramirez. Number 7, Carlos Munoz. Number 9, Isaac Smedley. Number 10, Josh Smith. Number 11, Greg Allen. Number 13, Nick Francis. Number 16, Court Cox. Number 22, Sam Kelly. And they've just made 1 or 2 small adjustments, but we're expecting to see them really play the majority of the minutes.
Yeah.
For the Lions from Widener, we got number 1, Jonathan Rouse in goal. Number 3, Tommy O'Keefe. Number 4, Grant Schaefer. Number 8, Zach Furriera. Number 9, Tori Romandelli. And now Tori is their goal scorer. The Lions haven't won yet, but he scored 3 of their 4 goals that they've accumulated. Number 11, Ross Stott. Number 16, Kevin McKenna. Number 20, Malik Krashik. Number 24, Eric Taylor. Number 25, Eric Bahiler, and number 28, Lucas Montansinos.
So there you go, starting lineups today for Widener and for the Knights of Southern Virginia University. And underway with Widener with the ball.
Nice day outside today, only in the 70s. Humidity's up a little bit, but we shouldn't see a lot of problems with cramping today.
And you go back to that Washington League game on Wednesday. The Knights had the 1 goal from Ramirez, came off of a free kick, and the Knights are really hoping to get some more offense here today.
Yeah, they've only generated about 8 shots per game, as opposed to Widener, who's generating about 17 shots per game. So we're going to see the Knights' offense really get cranked up.
And not only Ramirez's goal, one of the highlights for the Knights on Wednesday, but Tristan Lonergan stopping a Washington Lee goal, another highlight for the Knights when you look back to last Wednesday.
It was an amazing stop as Keenan Carroll was able to make one save and then was out of position off the rebound. The shot was put toward the goal, and Tristan made a remarkable save.
Opportunity for the Knights, and they can't score on that shot. Boy, almost an early break for the Knights. Good opportunity for the Knights down the left side with a good shot on goal.
Yeah, Josh Smith had a great opportunity and look at it. Just wasn't able to lift the ball up over the top of the keeper.
And the goalie came out, and tough to read, I guess, when you're making that snap-second decision, you know, whether you're going to kick it towards the side of the goal or whether you're going to try to sail it past the goalie.
It's tough to do, and again, great attack that we've seen early. We waited for this in the last game, and it took about 10 minutes before the Knights really got going. Nice to see them in the first 2 minutes start to attack, get their first shot on goal and their first corner kick.
And it'll be Smith taking this corner kick from the left side. Josh Smith, he was very active against Washington Lee on Wednesday. Played a lot of minutes. Kicked towards the goal, but booted away by Widener. Lonergan tries to keep it in and can't. And the Knights are going to try to play it safe and kick it back to the goalie.
Yeah, just clear it out. Make sure that no mistakes happen early. You don't want to put yourself at a disadvantage.
Widener tries to go on to the attack now. And it's Keenan Carroll coming out to make a good play there, Mike.
Yeah, and it looks like the Knights are getting attacked like they did against Washington and Lee with passes going in between their defenders in the back row.
You can also see, as you mentioned just a few seconds ago, why Widener might be averaging about 17 shots a game. They're very aggressive.
Very aggressive, and we hadn't seen them yet as far as being able to see what type of attack they want to put on, but they are, stat-wise, very aggressive going toward the goal.
They missed the pass there, as Bahir couldn't handle the pass, so Washington, or it'll be the Knights trying to take it back the other way now. Missed pass there. Ramirez tries to grab it, can't. Battles for it. Widener trying to set up their offense now.
Very patient. Bring the ball back to reverse fields. Again, they're trying to stretch that defense out of the Knights to find the cracks.
Good play by Lonergan. Off the head, and the Knights will work it back the other way to Munoz. Now Ramirez. Back to Lonergan.
Yeah, Tristan tried to split the defense there. Nice job to try to make a move and make something happen.
Widener coming from Pennsylvania for this game today, Mike.
Came down from Chester. Nice little drive.
And as you mentioned, they come in with a record of 0-3-1, and they have struggled to get some offense as well.
And they've scored 4 goals. Again, we talked about their goal scorer, Romandelli, who has scored 3 of the 4. But those 4 goals are twice as many as the Knights have scored, but we hope to see that reversed today.
Knights had the 1 goal against, I believe, Randolph, and then came back Wednesday with Ramirez's goal against Washington Lee. Offsides. Offsides is the call. Fortunate for the Knights, as Carroll was really in no man's land, but it was offsides on Widener.
Keenan pulled up too when he heard the whistle blow. Yep. He pulled up just to make sure
to avoid a collision.
Yeah, no collisions happening. But now we see that the Lions from Widener are really going to attack over the top on some long passes. So the Knights defense is going to have to make sure that they are back far enough to either defend or get Widener trapped offsides.
And we'll have to see also if Widener, after the Knights attack, whether they counterattack like Washington Lee had a tendency to do on Wednesday.
Well, I'm sure that
That was, of course, the way the Generals scored their opening goal.
I'm sure Widener's watched some film about on the Knights and have come in with a game plan, and I'm sure that Coach Patino knows that and has worked hard to come up with some counters.
Couldn't ask for better weather, though, as far as the temperatures are concerned today.
Yeah, temperatures are great. It looks like the Knights are going to give up a corner kick now. Yeah, in the 70s.
Was supposed to be some rain today, but doesn't appear we've got it at least right now.
Yeah, it looks like it came in earlier this morning, came through, but the humidity's still a little bit up. Makes it a little bit more muggy, but like we said, in the 70s, the wind's blowing a little bit. Shouldn't have any problem with cramping.
Tommy O'Keefe, a junior, will take the corner kick for Widener. He grounds it outside. Shot is blocked away by the Knights. They try to work it upfield.
Yeah, Carlos just put a little bit too far for Josh Smith to catch up to.
That's the area, I guess, Mike, at least one of the areas where the Knights really need to continue to try to make improvements, and that's their passing game.
Yeah, their passing got better during the Washington and Lee game, but they were still about half a step off on their passing. Just the touches just were a little bit too much. And there we see Widener trying again to go over the top to send one runner through.
Nice play by Horman to stop that attempt.
Yeah, I think after the Washington and Lee game, the Knights had a practice where a lot of lightning was going on. The next day, rain was happening. Couldn't get outside to practice a lot. Tried to get in and out between the lightning strikes, but I know they watched a lot of film and did a lot of readjustments from that Washington and Lee game.
And they really would like to pick up their first win of the season here today, much like the women, of course, last Saturday against Emory and Henry picked up their first victory of the season.
Yeah, it all begins at home. You always want to defend your home turf. It's hard to go and win on the road. So every time you have a home game, you really have to do your best to come out with a win on that day.
In fact, the Knights will be on the road on Tuesday playing at Farron before they'll come back here on a Thursday the 17th to take on Roanoke College. And as we mentioned on the 16th, on a Wednesday night, we will have women's soccer action against Randolph.
Yeah, nice job of Court Cox just to get it out. Again, another corner kick coming up by Widener. And that's a quick turnaround. The Tuesday to Thursday games, a very quick turnaround for the Knights.
Kind of unusual for football to be off today, Mike, but again, their first home game will be on this field next Saturday, 1 o'clock against Frostburg.
Yeah, most teams have an off week. It just happens to be that for the Knights, the off week is the second week of the season.
And I'm going to guess that Jason Walker would have probably preferred it to be a little further into the season as opposed to just after the opener.
Yeah, that's while your team is still fresh, and you like to have an off week about a little bit past the halfway mark to let your team recover from some of the bumps and bruises that they'll accumulate.
And they probably will accumulate a few because, as we talked about with you a couple days ago, man, they probably have, arguably, I suppose, the toughest schedule in Southern Virginia University football history so far.
Yeah, they're in the NJAC conference. And here's a replay coming up. See the nice job of Court Cox to head the ball out.
Back to live action.
Greg Allen heads it out. Again, nice job of the Knights not letting the ball just sit in the middle of the field.
Munoz trying to get rid of it.
Oh, nice pass ahead to Gabe Ramirez.
And here comes Gabe up the left side. Trying to find an attacker. He does.
Smedley.
Shot on goal.
Oh.
And no, just off and blocked away. Boy, I'll tell you, Smedley had a great look at a shot, and the goalie was able to deflect it at the last second.
It was a great shot, too. The goalie was just able to keep up and dive out to his right. Again, though, great attacks by the Knights. And now we see the corner kick coming in for the Knights.
So 2 shots on goal now for the Knights. None so far for Widener. And the Knights will have this corner kick coming up now.
Going for the
towards
far
the goal,
post. Oh.
And the goalie is able to snag it.
Yeah, it looks like they were looking for Gabe for a header going toward the back
That
goal
one
post.
sailed just a tad too much.
But the offense of the Knights is picking up where it left off about halfway through the second period against Washington and Lee. We see a lot of attacking mentality and the passing becoming much more crisp.
And I don't know if that's changing tactics or philosophy as much as just maybe really starting to get a feel for each other, obviously 4 or 5 games into the season.
Yeah, I don't think the tactics have changed a lot. I think they really believe in the system that they're running, but it's just familiarity. And again, we talk about how practice is so much different than the games. In practice, you can really get away with a lot of things because you know how your teammates are going to play you. Once you get that game experience, and it takes about 4 or 5 games to really understand how your teammates are going to react to different types of pressure, then we're going to see a lot more fluidity to their game.
Realistically, Mike, when you talk about whether we're talking 8 shots so far averaging on the season for SVU or 17 for Widener, what's the most realistic expectations a coach might have for percentage of made shots versus shots either taken or shots on goal?
I think with the shots on goal, anything right around the 35 to 45% ratio would be great. Anything above that, you have a really fantastic team.
So they'd love to maybe have, hypothetically, I guess on an average basis, 8 shots on goal, 2 made?
Yeah, that would be a great percentage for them. Although the better competition you start playing and the better the goalies are and the pressure the defense gives you, you could probably lose some of that percentage. Here we see the replay of that last shot and cleared out.
Excellent defense again by Court Cox there.
Again, we talked about
that pass awry there by the Knights, almost costing them.
Nice job.
Francis kicking it out, playing it safe there.
Able to get the throw in for the Knights. And we talked earlier on our first broadcast how Court has been one of the stalwarts on the defense for the Knights for the past 3 years. He's looking to be one of those leaders that the Knights have, not only this year but next year because they have no seniors.
Widener back on the attack.
Crossing pass. Oh, very dangerous.
That shot, though, by Widener way to the left of the goalie.
Yeah, they took it out of the air. But now we're starting to see some of the creativity that Widener has.
Knights have had a couple of opportunities, a couple of shots on goal, trying to get back onto the offensive side of the field.
You can see the pressure that the Knights put on. Even when the ball changes from offense to defense, they try to take away some of the passing angles, try to create a little bit more pressure, hopefully get a steal there on an errant pass.
Played nearly 15 minutes, still no score in this game. Widener came in with a 0-3-1 record. The Knights 0-4 on the season, so both teams looking for victory number 1 of this 2015 campaign today.
And I don't remember so far the Knights attacking down this near sideline. Everything's been to that far sideline on the left-hand side of the field. It'd be nice to see the Knights really have a balance.
Explain why that's important, just to keep the defense honest.
Keep the defense honest, and plus if you're always attacking on one side, there's a ball over the top, Keenan's able to come out and take it. But if you're always attacking on one side, then the defense can key on that and never have to have any worries about you doing anything different.
Kind of a miss hit there by the Knights, but they maintain control.
You see Court just escort the ball back to Keenan Carroll. And we're not seeing a lot of the little mental mistakes that we saw the Knights make during that Washington and Lee game. Great adjustments have been made from film study and from their practice, and they're just minute adjustments. Don't see a lot of big adjustments that they've made.
And I would imagine they are prepared for Widener's over-the-top passes.
Yeah, that would be something that came from their film study. But I think that they really talked a lot about how Washington and Lee attacked that back line of defense and really shored that up no matter who they're playing against or what kind of tactics they might be using.
And right there with the ball, as you see, that is Remidelli, who again has 3 of their 4 goals this year for Widener.
And long pass over the top. Was able to run down. Good job again.
Defense by Cox.
Cox gets
been
back.
Very
gets
active.
in the way.
Kind of like one of the stars here for the Knights, at least defensively here in the first half.
Yeah, he's kept a lot of pressure off of Keenan.
Corner kick coming up here for Widener.
You know, and all these can be a little bit dangerous situations, but so far the Knights have done a great job of making sure that the ball gets cleared out of the middle of the field.
It's going to be O'Keefe taking it again.
Far goal post.
Shot over the goal, that time by Widener. Widener just can't really get a good, clear look at it, Mike, and you got to credit that Knights defense for that.
Yeah, they've doing a great job of trying to keep a lot of pressure off of Keenan. And even that last shot, even though it went right over the top of the goal, wasn't hard struck and was really off balance. And a lot of the Knights' defense was right there in front of the goal.
Nice trying to get something started offensively. Just simply trying to get the ball back right now. And Ramirez can't control it.
Yeah, Widener's done a great job of keeping the ball down in their offensive end, but there's a
Smedley.
long pass.
Couldn't control it though, and Widener's got it back.
You know, and sometimes if you're a team that likes to have that long pass over the top attack style, you're susceptible to that type coming back at you. So maybe the Knights can take advantage of that. Nice switch of the field now. Horman to Cox. And there's our first attack down the right-hand side.
Over to Munoz. Tries to work his way out of the corner.
I think Carlos was looking for someone to come for a run right down the middle of the field, just waiting on some of his teammates. Now there's a player for you. Cox has been playing on the defensive end the whole time. We've talked about him a lot, keeping pressure off of Keenan Carroll, and now he comes all the way down to the offensive end for the throw-in. Long throw into the near corner.
Knights have a shot, and it's just off as the goalie makes the stop of Lonergan's shot.
Yeah, Tristan, again, didn't get a lot on it. Looks like his foot struck the top of the ball, but they're putting a lot of pressure on the goalkeeper.
And as you mentioned, wasn't really a strong shot, but it was a good opportunity that close to the goal. That's one of those deals, if you hit it left or right of the goalie and you hit it authoritatively, odds are it's a goal.
Yeah, if he had a little bit more struck the ball a little bit cleaner, it could have been a big difference in the outcome.
Ramirez got pushed from behind. Gabe looks like one of the better ball handlers out there for the Knights.
Yeah, that's why he's playing a little bit in the midfield, trying to create a lot of opportunities for Josh Smith and for Carlos Munoz and Smedley. And his job is to make sure that he distributes, organizes, and long shot. Oh, looks like that was off of Ramirez's head and then off of number 22, Sam Kelly's foot. So the Knights aren't trying to fool anybody. They're going directly at the goal every chance they get.
Substitution for Widener.
It looks like number 2, Dylan Pratzner, comes in.
3 shots on goal now by our count for the Knights and none for Widener.
And again, you have to credit that back line of defense. You know, they play a 4-4-3, and that first 4, the back row, has just done a fabulous job. See, and that's what was giving the Knights trouble against WNL, is that pass right through the 2 defenders. They were kind of hesitating who's going to go get the ball, and the Washington and Lee offensive player was able to get to it and get shots against Keenan Carroll.
Knights, in a lot of respects, Mike, have dominated play, just not able to get that first goal so far.
And that's the game of soccer. You can dominate the whole game, and then off of one mistake or just come up with a goal that you weren't expecting.
Well, you know, we saw that to a certain degree. Washington Lee, not that Southern Virginia played badly, but I would say of the 2, Washington Lee was more the dominant team. And when Southern Virginia got that first goal to tie it at 1 with like 10 minutes to go, if you're a Washington Lee fan, you're thinking, hey, you know, we've been playing pretty well, and yet here we are, 10 minutes to go, 1 more goal, and we lose. Yeah,
that's why it's so important that they stay mentally focused for 90 minutes, and that's what the hardest thing to do is on the soccer field, is to stay with that mental intensity for that full 90 minutes.
Here's Francis with it as the Knights try to work it upfield. But a turnover. A good look for Widener. They decide to pass the ball to the right side.
And can't get in. Just couldn't stop it off of Horman and then off of Keenan Carroll. Looks like that's number 2, Dylan Pratzner, that got the shot.
And it was a good decision on the left side to get that ball over to Pratzner, who actually just came in the game a few seconds ago. It looked like that pass from McKenna. He had a decision to, from the left side, take his own shot or pass back to the right, and obviously in hindsight made the right decision.
Yeah, again, that pass against the grain gets the defense moving again, just in a way that they weren't expecting, and just not able to keep enough of Keenan just couldn't keep enough of his hand on the ball to push it out of the goal.
It was very tough for him too, looking at the guy from coming on his right, and then having to worry suddenly about the guy from the left.
Nice job by Carlos to run that ball down.
Works his way past one Widener attacker. Now Widener steals it away and tries to bring it back as the Knights now fall behind here 1-0.
And that's what we were just talking about. The Knights, on statistic-wise, has dominated the game with shots on goals and with corner kicks. And then we see Widener come up with their first really good shot on goal, and it goes in.
So that's a pretty good accuracy rate as far as shots on goal and goals for Widener, at least thus far. And Widener brings it up again, and a shot just past Carroll. And again, a good move on the left side, it looked like this time by Bahir. He was looking maybe for a call, maybe from the refs, thinking he was getting jostled. Or
yeah, I think he said it might have gone off of Court Cox's body and looking for the corner kick. That's a long way for the far side official to see.
Well, the plus side today, they've got the offense going, Mike. On the downside, despite all of that, now the Knights trail 1-0. But still lots of time in this first half to try to get the equalizer.
And again, a lot of great things that the Knights have been doing so far. They can't get away from their game plan because it has produced a lot of opportunities. They just need to stay with it and not panic.
Kelly kicks it over on the right side to Francis. To Smedley now. Knight was tripped, no call.
Yeah, Munoz got taken down just a little bit.
There's
long
a
shot by Smith.
Sails high and to the left of the goalie.
So number 23, Cade Lose, coming in for the Knights now.
He's a freshman. Knights are probably still trying to figure out, maybe from an offensive standpoint, what's the best combination out there.
And a lot of that has not only do with how the players are put together, but who can make the plays for other players in their anticipation.
Good play there by Widener to steal the ball.
And
And
Carroll
comes out.
Now Lowe came in for Josh Smith, so this is one of the first rests that Josh has had in their games. Now this is something we haven't seen all game, is the Knights defense letting the ball be dribbled all the way up the field.
Francis kicking it away after it looked like Furia was the player from Widener bringing it up.
Yeah, and he started back in their defensive end, deep in their defensive end, and brought it all the way into the front.
Substitutions for the Knights. Palmer and Hogan will be coming in. And we're seeing some guys we didn't see on Wednesday.
Yeah, a lot more liberal substitutions tonight than there was the other night.
Both are freshmen. And, of course, that's to be expected. A lot of freshmen on the roster.
Yeah, we talked about, this is dangerous. The Knights are lucky that
O'Keefe couldn't really get the shot off.
Yeah, his footing left him.
Lonigan's got it, trying to work his way out of trouble.
And we talked about all the freshmen that the Knights have. In the last game, they were starting 5 freshmen. Anytime you start, shot just wide to the right. Anytime you start 5 freshmen, you're either have some really good freshmen or you're rebuilding, and we know that Coach Patino has been in a rebuilding stage.
And that shot that Carroll didn't have to lay a glove on because it sailed to his right, that kind of took Southern Virginia off guard. The Widener possession and the shot. And now Widener's got it again here. Trying to work it close. Suddenly Widener, especially after that goal, now they seem like they've got the momentum here.
Yeah, they've become energized now, and the Knights have become a little bit deflated, especially on the defensive end.
We talked on Wednesday, Mike, once they get Mulava back, it'll hopefully be a completely different team, or at least slightly different. I know he's just one player, but a very good athlete.
Crossing pass there. Nice job clearing it by Nick Francis.
Widener with a quick pass, shot towards the goal.
Yeah,
he didn't make the save.
When Brahima comes back at full strength, that's going to free some other things up, because now you have a few people playing out of their normal and natural positions in their comfort zone. But it's going to take some time for Brahima to mesh in with who's out there on the field.
And who potentially has the potential here, I guess, Mike, to emerge when you look at the entire season as maybe the Knights' top goal-scoring threat.
Well, you have Ramirez, Munoz, and Smith. They seem to be the top threats, but also Greg Allen has shown a lot of athletic ability going towards the goal.
Well, you're going to have a call against the Knights here.
Oh, and Harmon took him down inside the box. We're going to have a penalty kick now.
Could be a big swing of events here if Widener can get their second goal today. Game like this where the Knights have been able to manufacture offense but no goals. Don't want to fall behind here, Mike, by 2.
Yeah, this is going to be huge for Keenan Carroll. Try to guess right, and that's all the goalkeepers can really do is guess one way or the other.
Tommy O'Keefe will take the shot and score.
And that little hesitation move right there, which is not supposed to be allowed. Once you start your approach, you're supposed to keep going.
And O'Keefe really was able to squeeze that in, as far as the goalkeeper is concerned, just to the right side.
And let's watch and see if O'Keefe hesitates or comes to a stop on his movement.
Yeah, he took a little half step, I guess you could half
Yeah,
pause.
I guess he said his momentum was still going forward, but that's really tough for a goalkeeper. Once they stop the momentum, it's tough to try to figure out which way they're going to go and guess.
Now, how desperate is the situation? I know there's a lot of time left, Mike. Obviously, the entire second half got 60 minutes still left in this ball game. But now the Knights trail by 2. How important is it for the Knights to get let's say, a goal here in the final 14 minutes before halftime arrives?
That would be a huge relief off their shoulders if they could get a goal. The big key is now is to make sure that they keep Widener out of their defensive end. Keep the ball down on the offensive end for the Knights.
Just seems like the last 5-10 minutes has been played on the Southern Virginia end of things.
It has, and it's been a huge swing of momentum from the first 15 minutes to right now.
Couple of goals for Widener, and they came in with just 4 goals in 4 games. And they've scored 2 so far here in the first half, and 2 in the last 10 minutes? I'm trying to remember when they scored on the clock their first goal. Southern Virginia really dominated the opening minutes of this game.
Yeah, they scored 2 goals within 7 minutes of each other.
And Widener's back on the attack again.
It seems like the Knights,
Almost
dangerous.
a dangerous situation there. That was Cox trying to get it over to the goalie, and he got caught in between. It looked like whether he was going to try to pass it to Carroll or just kick it out of there.
Yeah, just, again, that mental intensity that we talked about is starting to leave for the Knights a little bit as they're starting to think a little bit about, oh, my goodness, we're down by 2, and we've got to really push now.
And probably try to figure out, when you look at the first 10-15 minutes of this game, how they're down by 2.
Yeah, great shots on goal, a lot of attacking by the Knights, and all of a sudden that attacking nature just hasn't produced anything for them in this last 10 minutes.
Christian Rice trying to battle on the left side for the ball, but can't maintain it. It was at one point 3-0 shots on goal in favor of SVU. Now it's 3-2, and 3-2 as far as corner kicks are concerned in favor of Widener. They're going to bring Kabir Bachman into the game. He's a freshman for Widener.
And also Alexander Drouet came in for Nick Francis for the Knights. And Drouet has one of the 2 goals for the Knights on the season. So you got the 2 goal scorers in there. Plus you got Carlos Munoz, who was a big goal scorer for the Knights last year. Josh Smith is out for a few minutes trying to...
How surprising is that to have guys like Smith and Munoz? Again, we're only in game number 5 of the season, but still not a goal for them, either one of those guys so far here in 2015.
Well, anytime that you perform well the season before, you become a marked person. And Tatiana Monson on the women's side is learning that, as she scored 17 goals last season. Now she's really finding a lot of attention by the defense.
Good defensive play there by the Knights to get it away from Bachman before he made an approach on the goal.
Now that's a slide and tackle that Horman wanted to do earlier, but he got too much of the offensive player, Pratzner, which led to the penalty kick.
Corner kick coming up here.
And all of a sudden we see Widener as just the attacking mentality has come out. And we talked earlier about how the stats show that, but in the first 10 minutes it was a little bit different.
It'll be a throw-in.
Long throw-in.
Knights trying to head it out of there.
And, very close for another opportunity, but Carroll was able to fall on the ball.
And he just got to the ball a split second before that Widener player did, which could have conceivably been their third goal today.
Yeah, a little bit at the beginning of the play when Court Cox headed it out, a little bit miscommunication between he and Keenan. Keenan should have gone ahead and called him off and just kept the ball himself.
Palmer with it to Munoz. Knights would love to score before halftime as they trail here 2-0, and we're almost to the 10-minute mark.
You know, and we're seeing that Widener's a little bit physical when the Knights get down into their offensive end. Nothing dirty, but just a little bit physical, making sure they keep knocking the Knights off their runs.
And we've seen the referees, to a certain degree, letting them play, too.
Munoz to take the kick now. Tries to go over the top, but the keeper, Jonathan Rouse, comes out for a nice save.
Gervais gets it for the Knights. Carroll kicks up to Munoz, but Widener winds up with it. Knights came in again with an 0-4 record. And Widener came in 0-3-1 of the season.
Well, Jim, we can break this down into 3 segments. The first 15 minutes, the Knights statistically dominated. Still wasn't able to put anything on the board.
Yeah, they had 3 shots on goal, and at that point, Widener had no shots on goal.
The second 15 minutes, the Widener not only dominated time possession and statistic-wise, but also goal-wise. And now this last 15 minutes, we're seeing that, again, Widener has had the possession of the ball for much more time than the Knights have.
And Southern Virginia hasn't had a real good shot on goal for quite some time here, Mike.
Now, they've been playing in their end of the field defensively way too much.
And Widener has really maintained control of the ball, possession of the ball with some good passing.
Yeah, they use the field really well. They timed their runs out really well, too. Those over-the-top passes, time out extremely well.
Knights would like to get some offense going, but just can't really get anything consistent underway against that Widener defense.
There we see Horman shielding off as Carroll comes out to take the sliding save. Looks like the ball went out of bounds.
And Widener with a quick pass.
Wouldn't let him start that fast as the other ball was on the field. But it looks like, Widener wants to play very fast.
And I don't know if that's just their style, or if it's also a situation where if you're a team like Widener, Mike, and you get the momentum from a couple of goals, if that really changes the way that maybe you're an upscale team anyway, but perhaps you even go more up-tempo when you've got momentum going.
Well, I think we can assume with Widener, the way they were going over the top on some of those passes, the ball needs to get out of there. But we can assume that as Widener tried to go over the top on so many passes, those long passes, that they are a team that really wants to go.
And they can sense the kill almost. Again, we've got the entire second half to go, but Widener probably realizes get a third or fourth goal, and they can really perhaps put this game away in the first half.
Yeah, they've done a great job defensively this last 25, 30 minutes. Also, offensively, they're really in sync with each other. So another goal right now would really be detrimental for the Knights.
Good battle for the ball, won by the Knights. Momentarily by Palmer. And Widener's got it now with 6:10 to go.
Nice step in by Hogan to take the ball away.
Hogan's another freshman. And that time, though, it was Cox losing it from behind.
Offsides, way offsides. And that's just a little offsides trap that the Knights have. Only the second offsides, though, by Widener, and that's pretty amazing for as many times as they've tried to go over the top on those long passes.
Cox got to be a little careful, though, over there, Mike, losing the ball like that. Knights trying to go on the attack here. Trying to get a goal in the final 5 minutes of this first half.
This is a good early season test for the Knights, both them and Washington Lee, and then with the other teams they'll be playing. There's Horman being taken down, be a foul there, but there's going to be plenty of different styles that they'll see in the CAC.
And we'll see if he is able to get up and continue here.
And they just got their feet tangled up, a little bit of a push in the back from Bachman to Horman. And anytime you start to lose your balance and all your momentum's going forward, even though that's rubber and you can see the black rubber pellets on his back, even though it's rubber, anytime you go down, it still hurts.
Good to see him get up, though, and start walking it off. Big sophomore, too, 6'4", 210.
Yeah, Sam's a big defender in that back row. Nice job of clearing the ball out.
Durbay out battling the player from Widener, at least momentarily, to clear it out. And this Widener team goes right back on the attack.
Oh, again, you see that long over-the-top pass.
And Pratzner, that time, the one who got the second goal in the game, almost got his third. As Carroll had to come out, and if Pratzner was able to hook that shot back to the left side, would have been an easy goal for Widener.
So again, no let up by Widener. They're an attacking team. They're going to keep attacking, just playing out their style.
Towards halftime, we'll try to get you the latest on women's volleyball. Of course, women's soccer is in action, but that'll be tonight. And men's football not in action today. They'll be playing their first home game against Frostburg next Saturday.
Yeah, that game will be broadcast by Lynchburg College, the women's game. You can go to the website at Southern Virginia, click on the schedule for the women's soccer team, and over on the right-hand side will be a little link that says video, and they can watch.
How big of a challenge is that going to be for the women tonight?
Oh, that's a huge stepping stone for them.
Left side, and Widener couldn't get the shot off, and Carroll finally controls the ball. Boy, another near miss there for Widener.
Yeah, it looks like it was number 28 there, Montesinos, who was coming in hard, kind of tripped over the ball a little bit, couldn't use his hands to help getting back up because it would have put his hands on the ball.
Interesting, too, Widener has 2 goals today, and Rimadelli, who had 3 of their first 4 this season, hasn't been involved.
Well, that's good news if you're the Widener coach, is other players are starting to step up and make plays for you.
And that's what happens when you mentioned you got certain players maybe with a target on them because of past achievements. Other guys just have to step up.
Well, this last minute and 20 now is really a huge time for the Knights to make sure no extra goals get in.
And Widener has that intent here in the final minute, trying to get a third goal.
Yeah, that would be detrimental for the Knights going in with this last minute to give up another goal.
Horman was pushed from behind, and he goes down again. He's 6'4", 210, Mike, but he's taken a beating here in this first half.
Again, anytime you go down on any type of field, it doesn't matter how soft or comfortable it might be for your feet, your body takes a beating.
Closing seconds in the first half with Widener on top here 2-0. Knights trying to get something in the final few seconds. Work it over to Munoz, but he can't control it. I think right now Widener is just trying to make sure Southern Virginia doesn't get something in the final few seconds. And the final shot by Palmer sails wide. And we are at halftime. With your halftime score here from the fields at Southern Virginia University, it is Widener 2 and the Knights of Southern Virginia University nothing. We're going to take a little break here at halftime, come back for second half action in just a few minutes, so stay with us. And welcome back to the fields at Southern Virginia University. Jim Bresnahan, Mike Harmon here, ready to bring you the second half of men's soccer action. Widener on top as we start second half action, Mike. 2-0. The Knights dominated the stats early in the first half, but then things turned around for Widener.
Yeah, things turned around about the 30-minute mark. Widener was able to score 2 goals within 7 minutes at the 29-30 mark and the 22-31 mark. And then at that point, things just stayed in the favor of Widener Pride.
Widener with 10 shots for the first half. SVU had 6. Corner kicks, Widener 4, SVU 2.
Yeah, and the majority of those 6 shots came very early in the half.
And what do you think the coaches told the players at halftime to try to get them back in this game in the second half?
They're going to have to start capitalizing on opportunities. We saw Widener capitalize on opportunities really early. They were 2 out of 3 at that point on shots on goals and goals. The Knights really have to capitalize. They got to make sure that something gets into the goal. They're creating shots. Now the next step is making sure that those shots go in.
Updating other sports, women's volleyball today. They ended up losing, I guess, to Washington this morning. Still a match coming up this afternoon.
Yeah, they played WNL at their tournament, at WNL's tournament. Lost 3-0. Their next opponent will be Lynchburg, and that'll be starting in about 15 minutes.
And football action today. The Knights not in action. They'll be opening up their home schedule next Saturday against Frostburg. Frostburg is in action, by the way, today, taking on Wesley and already losing that game now, Mike, 21-3, which ought to tell you Frostburg's a pretty good ball club. Wesley's on another level.
Wesley is the cream of the crop of the end, Jack. Probably one of the better teams on the East Coast. But we were talking earlier that if they really wanted to do the Division III justice, they'd go ahead and get Mount Union and
just about
Wisconsin Whitewater, and just let them go ahead and play for the championship.
I've often thought about that just from a football standpoint, and to me, it's more pronounced than any other sports in Division III. You got Wisconsin. I mean, based on the immediate past, Whitewater and Mount Union on one level. Then you got teams like Wesley and perhaps, I don't know, maybe some of those Texas teams on a different level. And then it just seems like level. So like if you're like the ODAC champion or maybe like Christopher Newport or something, you get to the playoffs, but you might be on the 5th level looking up at Mount Union Whitewater at the top level.
Yeah, that's they do have major.
But you mentioned
divisions.
Basketball, I guess, can be a little unbalanced at times too.
At some points it can be, but not as much as pronounced as football. There we saw the attacking nature again of the pride from Widener. Number 17, Bachman was able to get the ball going straight down the middle of the field.
And right now, Southern Virginia would like to get on the board and get the offense going, but right now they got to worry about just defensing Widener, keeping them off the board from maybe potentially getting a 3rd goal, Mike.
Yeah, that 3rd goal, if it happens, would be just detrimental to the Knights, not only in this game, but carrying on. How can we let this happen to us over and over again, where we play so well for so long and then all of a sudden just give a few goals up?
You know, and again, the Knights had the first 3 shots on goal, couldn't score on those 3 shots on goal. And you don't want to get to the point where every shot on goal has to be a goal because of limited shots on goal.
Yeah, and then you start really pressing and
right.
Not let the shots really dictate or great play.
Pushing the back there by Colin Flynn.
Yeah, Colin was able to give him a nice little shove with his shoulder. Took him down well enough that it took his shoe off. So we see Kevin McKenna get up, trying to readjust his shoes. And we've seen long throw-ins by the Widener. This is going to be a penalty, a kick, a free kick. One man in front.
Towards the goal. Sails right past everybody. Knights try to work it up. But Widener keeps it in. Widener really has possessed the ball a lot in the first half, outside of the first 10-15 minutes, and so far here in the first few minutes of the second half.
And it seems like just that they're a little bit more quicker to the ball, and they anticipate a little bit more than the Knights have tended to do later in this first half and into the second half. And there was an observation by one of our IT gurus in here that the Knights seem to be reacting to the ball more than being the actors on the ball.
Which was not, again, the case in the first 10-15 minutes of this game.
Oh,
and another goal by Widener.
And that's Pratzner again.
Pratzner, who got the first goal of the game, gets his second goal. So he scored the first goal and now the third goal. And he's quick. He just outraced the Knights players to get in position for that shot. And once he got in position, Mike, the goalkeeper, Carroll, really didn't have a prayer.
Yeah, he got his shoulders past the defender, and once that happened, was able to get a nice, low, hard shot off on goal.
And now the Knights, if they're thinking about trying to win this game, have to come from 3 goals down.
And this is a long, hard road for the Knights.
Well, Widener came in 0-3-1, Mike, but we looked at their scores, and even though they hadn't been able to manufacture a lot of offense, 4 goals in 4 games coming in with that 0-3-1 record, they still played a lot of their opponents pretty tough.
Yeah, a lot of them were one goal differentials, and we're seeing now that they've figured out some of the little nuances of their offense and have become a little bit crisper at it.
And we also talked in the pregame about Torrey Rimondelli, the senior for Widener, number 9, out on the field, had scored 3 of their first 4 goals. Widener has scored 3 goals today, and Rimondelli has not scored any of them. It's been O'Keefe on a penalty kick, and Pratzner now with his second goal today.
And as a coach, the Widener coach has to be very excited that his offense is starting to come together, and other members of his team are able to really step up and participate and contribute.
Whereas Coach Patino's got to be thinking, boy, we really dominated play for the first 10-15 minutes, and our offense has just kind of disappeared here in the last 20 minutes.
Yeah, they, like you said, they started out really hot, and I think if they were able to put a goal in at that point, we would have seen them carry on through the rest of the half. But, a little bit of disappointment in their own selves. Ball was trying to backheeled in there.
Then you go back to those opening minutes, and I can't remember all the shots on goal. I know Smedley had a good look from the left side and couldn't get the shot to go in.
Yeah, they've had several shots on goal that should have had a chance, just misstruck the ball.
I can recall Lonergan having a shot just a few feet away from the goalkeeper in the goal and just couldn't get his foot firmly planted on the shot.
Nice play by Josh Smith. See if he can manufacture something here.
He tries to stop on the dime, gets it over to Lonergan. He makes a nice move.
Centering pass.
Smedley with a shot, blocked by a Widener player.
Yeah, and that was a little bit of self-defense there. You saw him turn his back.
But good to see the Knights with a little offensive action. Hadn't seen that for a little while. I mentioned the Knights will be in action on the road Tuesday at Ferrum, and we'll have their next webcast coming up on Thursday against Roanoke, and women in action, women's soccer, coming up on Wednesday against Randolph.
Yeah, and after playing Roanoke and Lynchburg, they're looking to maybe step down a little bit in competition. Not saying that Randolph is bad, but playing
just
against
not on par
just
with
not on
teams
par
like
with Lynchburg.
Yeah.
And again, that's those levels. I know that Randolph is trying to get to that point, just like the Knights are, but it should be a little bit. I don't want to say easier competition, but maybe it'll be more on par with where the Knights are right now.
It'll be interesting to see how the women's soccer team does against Lynchburg tonight. They lost, I think, to Roanoke 3-0 on Friday.
Yeah, they lost to Roanoke 3-0 yesterday. Coming back tonight to play against Lynchburg down at Lynchburg.
And, of course, as we mentioned, the football team not in action. They'll be playing Frostburg in their first home game coming up next Saturday, 1 o'clock. And we'll have that for you. Frostburg, a team that was losing today to Wesley 21-3 at last report. Although with Wesley, you got to check that every
Yeah.
couple of minutes.
Once they get the ball, they're looking to go and score.
And that was the most amazing thing is Wesley rolling over their opponents last year in Division III playoffs and then meeting Mount Union and trailing 42-0, like something like that at halftime.
Yeah, it was, again, just different levels. Not to take anything away from Wesley. We've seen what they can do. They're just not to that level yet where Mount Union has traditionally been. Now, we're not saying that Mount Union is going to be there this year, but
No, when you
traditionally,
when you see something like that, you start thinking, I wonder how Mount Union would do against Alabama. Or perhaps somebody from 1AA. Or maybe even Division II, I suppose.
corner kick here now for Widener.
Kick towards the goal.
There we go. It looks like Ramirez was able to clear it out momentarily. Ball still loose. And nice job by Gabe Ramirez to clear the ball completely out to midfield.
So the Knights dodge a bullet, still trail here by 3 goals with 36:05 left. Well, momentum can be so fickle here as Josh Smith moves up the left side. Let's see if he can get a shot on goal. Pushed a little further past the goal.
Looks like he was trying to draw a foul there on that last little lunge in.
Now, it makes me wonder, like just on a general rule, when you've got momentum going like SVU did in the first 10, 15 minutes, if the coaches, and you don't score, if the coaches get a little concerned because it's hard to keep momentum up, obviously, for all 90 minutes of a game.
And we just saw a nice counterattack there by Widener, and it's something that we've seen the Knights susceptible to. Nice job by Colin Flynn getting back and clearing the ball out.
Excellent weather, and of course the season ends next month in October, so I'm not sure we're going to have any 30 or 40 degree days these guys will be playing soccer in.
No, I don't think they'll see the 30 or 40 degrees for soccer, but you'll see some of that maybe for football.
Football in November.
In November.
A couple of games, I think, October 31st and November the 14th for the football team. And I suppose, weather permitting, because we didn't see a lot of spring activity in February and into March earlier this year for the spring sports, but you start to wonder, soccer, lacrosse, baseball, I guess to a certain degree, in February and March, you could be looking at 30, 40 degree days there.
Yeah,
As long as it's
hoping,
dry.
I'm hoping that we don't get there. I'm hoping that, we'll have an early spring.
Well, that's not what the almanacs are telling us.
No, another hard winter coming up.
Nasty winters, yeah. I think I read that in both the Farmer's Almanac and the Old Farmer's Almanac. Are you a big believer in the almanac weathers?
I'm a big believer in what the old timers around here tell me.
If the old, my knee hurts, it's going to snow 10 inches.
So far, they haven't been wrong. And here we see Widener just being able to possess the ball a little bit longer and make a little bit crisper passes than the Knights. And again, another long attack. Keenan Carroll is able to come out and clear the ball.
As we mentioned at the Washington League game, I mean, sometimes you start thinking about maybe kind of settling in, just possessing the ball, kicking it back and forth, running some clock. But Widener, maybe they subscribe to the theory, basically, best defense is a good offense.
Yeah, and the way they've been playing and just possessing the ball with that offense, I wouldn't change anything. Again, you talked about momentum. You don't want to do anything to get that off of your side. And they seem to have the momentum completely on their side right now.
Maybe when it's like 5 minutes to go, but not when it's 32 minutes left in the first half. And while a 3-0 lead is a pretty good size lead, then again, if SVU could score here, they're within 2. It only takes one more to get within 1.
Yeah, well,
Smith apparently tripped a player. But they're going to call it against Widener, I guess, and give the ball to SVU.
And we saw Widener in that first half was able to score 2 goals within 7 minutes of each other. So it can be done. Not saying it can. It's just right now really hard for the Knights to get anything clicking. And
the Knights have kind of run into that this year, Mike, where they've given up goals in a relatively short period of time. Widener with those 2 goals you mentioned. Washington Elite getting a couple of goals on Wednesday in the final 10 minutes. And we saw that game, the 4th game of the season, I think, for the Knights were the Randolph game, the 3rd game, where they kind of got out of control in the second half. They ended up losing that game 6-1.
Looks like the Knights coming in for a corner kick.
The Knights trying to get their first goal today and just their 3rd goal this season.
And this is, again, a great opportunity for the Knights to get that first goal up on the board now and start that momentum shift back to their side.
Towards the goal. Lonigan tries to head it. Can't.
Looks like we got a foul called. Looks like Carlos was able to draw a foul. We'll see if they're going to give him a penalty kick or not. Yep, they are moving them back to the...
So good, maybe a scoring opportunity here for the Knights.
And Carlos is the one that drew the foul. He'll also be the one taking the penalty kick. And again, not without outside the realm of scoring 3 goals to tie it back up. It's really crucial that this penalty kick goes in.
Let's see what he does here. Munoz
and just
off
pulls
to the right.
it.
Goalkeeper was over there, but no matter what the goalkeeper did, that wasn't going to go in, obviously. And another missed opportunity here for the Knights. Really could have used a goal there, Mike, to try to climb back into this thing.
Yeah, and again, this is one of those issues where now your confidence in yourself and your teammates may start to go down. We talked about
and you can see the goalkeeper moving in that direction anyway, but didn't need to.
Yeah, and if Carlos could have kept it on the ground and tucked it in that near goal post, he would have got a goal. Now we're looking at, are the Knights going to start doubting themselves?
How do they practice penalty kicks? And if you're one taking the penalty kick, do you want to change? I mean, do you have a particular tendency to go in a same direction, or you really need to change things up because they know you like to kick to the left or kick to the right, I guess?
Well, because penalty kicks are pretty rare. They don't happen in every game. You usually try to find your sweet spot, and you go to that all the time. They practice them in practice, and they put the goalkeepers up against the
And I'd love to know the
shooters.
Success rate, because I'm sure the coaches, as you mentioned, because they're rare, you really want to have a high success rate, I would imagine, when you're taking a penalty kick.
Well, again, that comes back to practice, where they put the shooters up against the goalie, and that's who they try to determine who's going to take that penalty kick by their practice stats. Nice job by Court Cox again.
Cox also got tripped.
They're trying to calm both sides down a little bit. Don't want things to get chippy.
Got tripped by number 24 there, Eric Taylor, senior. Cox with the throw in. Mishit it, trying to clear it.
Ball played back over to Keenan, and Keenan able to clear it. And this is where Widener's been really good, is able, when they get clears, it goes and they keep the ball that time. Has subs coming in now.
Well, Mike, do you like the instant replay? You're like a little kid with a new toy, aren't you?
Oh, I think our producers are the ones with the new toy. They threw it on us earlier today and said, "Oh, by the way, we have." It's going to add another level to our broadcasts, and hopefully the people at home will enjoy seeing great plays over again.
Unfortunately, it will not be used to overturn bad calls on the field by the referees,
No,
as we see in Division I football and that sort of thing,
yeah,
or the Major League Baseball.
We don't have the that capabilities yet, and it's
a good chance for the Knights to take a breather here, Mike, and try to assess how to come back in this game down by 3.
Yeah, and they had a great opportunity just a few minutes ago with the penalty kick by Carlos Munoz. He just pulled it a little bit wide to his left. Don't know what the holdup is now. There's an injured player on the field, or players taking a wrap off. I know earlier in one of the games on the women's side we had a stoppage due to a bat being on the field. So, all kinds of
night game, needless to say.
Yeah, all kinds of things can happen here.
Well, what's the latest in football when it comes to Wesley and Frostburg? Last it was 21-3, now 27-3.
27-3, with 28 seconds left to go in the half.
And of course, Frostburg will be the opponent for the Knights in football action. First home game for Southern Virginia coming up next Saturday at 1 o'clock on this very same field.
We have a couple of substitutions that came in. Greg Allen came in for Sam Kelly, and then for Widener, Brendan O'Boyle came in for Stephen McFarland. Alec Del Conte came in for Eric Taylor. And Brandon Tarkasaki came in for John Colbert.
Then one of the stars today for Widener, a couple of stars. First of all, let's credit the goalkeeper withstanding the Knights' flurry early on. And then, of course, a couple of goals for Pratzner.
Yeah, Rouse has been really stellar back in the goal, not allowing those early attacks to come in. And there's Pratzner with the ball, who has scored 2 goals.
Pratzner has a couple of goals. He's just a freshman, 5'10", 150 pounds. And, of course, the other goal came on the penalty kick by Tommy O'Keefe, the junior, who kind of, as we mentioned, we thought maybe did a little half pause, I guess, before he took the kick.
Yeah, as long as he kept his momentum going forward, they'll allow that. But, that's playing right to the edge of the rules.
And the goalkeeper was able to go ahead and beat Smedley to the ball. Knights trying to go on the attack here with the clock winding down in the second half. Shot towards the goal, saved by the goalkeeper.
And you have to go back to that penalty kick by the Knights. If it would have went in, what would have changed by now? Would the Knights have seized that momentum and kept the ball down on their offensive end a little bit more? That's something that will
kind of similar to what we were talking about a few seconds ago, too. What if the Knights, with those 3 shots on goal in the first opening minutes, maybe get a goal out of one of those 3?
Yeah, so momentum and the game can change in a second. So offsides by Widener.
Well, in a 1-goal game, obviously, the clock isn't a factor to the final 5 or 10 minutes, Mike. But in a 3-goal game, when is it the panic time, I guess, for the Knights? If they really want to try to make a 3-goal comeback, they need to maybe get a first goal, perhaps.
Well, it would have been about 5 minutes ago with the penalty kick.
Penalty kick, yeah.
That's akin to going to the free throw line for a technical foul, and if you hit it, it's going to bring your team back within a goal or two, a field goal or two. So
nice pass by Ramirez to Lonigan on the left side. He tries to work it back. He does to Munoz. Oh, and he misses, but he got his own rebound.
Munoz tries to backheel it in.
Just couldn't control it. Lonigan tries to kick it over. Boy, another good chance for Munoz, almost point blank. Couldn't get the shot to go, though. The Knights are really battling here. Munoz, another good opportunity there, Mike, and Rouse, another good save for Widener.
Yeah, great strike there right in the middle of the field. Was just the only place he had to put it was straight down the middle, and that's where Rouse had set up. Again, it's nice to see that the Knights haven't given up on themselves or their team. Just one of those issues where.
And we'll get a look at this now.
Nice centering pass comes back in.
Might have hurt him, Munoz, when he actually had to kind of kick it up in the air and then kick it, as opposed to one good clean kick, maybe. What do you think?
Yeah, that was, again, probably about all he could do. He's trying to get the shot off quick. He found himself wide open in the middle of the field, which hasn't happened. Widener's been really good with their defense in closing down.
Yeah, potentially a good assist by Lonigan, but the Knights come up empty. And Widener seems to react when the Knights have a good chance at scoring. They immediately aggressively come back down the other way.
They come back with a vengeance, trying to score, saying, you got a good chance on us now. We want to get a good chance on you.
Well, you see the numbers there. 5 shots on goal for Widener, 4 now for the Knights, but still a 3-goal advantage for Widener.
Yeah, Widener's shot on goal to goal percentage is just phenomenal.
Of course, one of those on a penalty kick.
But even though you get a penalty kick, we know it's not automatic, as we saw. Carlos missed his earlier on, and then in the women's games, what we did, we saw Tatiana Monson with a penalty kick, and she pulled hers a little bit to her right. So those aren't automatics by any means. Widener's just done more with their opportunities than the Knights have today.
Ramirez battling. He's been kind of silent today, too. Knights have had a hard time getting certain players. Josh Smith, Ramirez are really involved in the offense.
Just not a lot of consistent opportunities. We've seen flurries, 2 or 3 plays here, long strike there. But 2 or 3 plays here outside that first 10 minutes of the first half, the Knights just have flurries and no sustained efforts, unlike what we've seen Widener have of those sustained, constant drives toward the goal.
And hard to explain why that is, why the Knights in the last couple of minutes here have had a pretty good offensive flurry over the opening 10-15 minutes of the game, and that big gap in between.
Yeah, it's one of those things where if we could come up with why that is.
You'd be the soccer coach.
Well, no, we could bottle it and sell it to just about any school team, because they all have those things happen to them.
Just not sure if it's about what you're doing or what the opponent is doing defensively that causes all that.
And then sometimes it's a combination of both. So, again, a lot of film study and soul searching for the Knights before they go into their next game.
And even more importantly, I guess,
a nice play ahead.
Smedley's got a good chance here. Defense catches up, though. Smedley can't get a shot off. Trying to work free now, looking for someone maybe to pass to. That just shows you, Mike, how quickly time evaporates when you think you may have the slightest advantage.
Yeah, he came down, and again, not really being 100% sure with his dribbling, because he had a defender right there on his shoulder, so he couldn't keep his head up and find out where he was and if he could get the shot off.
Or if he had maybe somebody to the right for a potential pass. Here's Munoz. Over to Hogan.
And a corner kick now. I mean, Smedley did the right thing by keeping control of the ball. Just the pressure that was put on him by the defense was just not allowing him to have that free look.
Corner kick coming up here for the Knights.
We'll see if Josh tries to bend it out.
They try to work it towards the middle now. Smedley battling for it.
Oh, and I thought it was a handball on Widener, but they call a foul on Southern Virginia.
Well, Munoz and Smedley have really been perhaps the 2 most active Knights offensively, but again, They've been blanked.
Yeah, they've had the most opportunities. It's just haven't been that fortunate time to get the ball past Rouse. We saw number 14, Kyle Lynch, come in for Widener now.
Not sure really who'd be the number one star for Widener. Would it be Pratzker with his 2 goals, or maybe Rouse with the shutout so far?
I think you have to give it to both of them, one offensive and one defensive star, right?
Carroll's actually had a pretty good game in goal, made a few saves, but kind of like the Washington League game, has been asked to do a lot.
Yeah, and it's been just on small breakdowns. It hasn't been the constant, he made the same mistake. It's just been the pressure that's been put on him. He can't get to everything.
See Chris Pendleton there, Director of Communications, and Jason Lamb, Athletic Director. Jason, maybe thinking about lacrosse next spring already.
Well, they've already started their non-traditional season now, so he's got nice long run toward the end. Just couldn't get the hit on the ball.
Be interesting to see how they shape up men's lacrosse next spring. Guys like Casey Rich.
Yeah, they have a lot of good returners that have came back, and also a nice mix of freshmen and incoming players coming in. So I know I've talked to a few of the players, and they're very excited about their prospects for this year.
How about women's lacrosse for next spring? Same deal?
Same deal. Right now, the numbers aren't as big as the men's lacrosse team, but a lot of returners. And they're working on trying to bring in a few more bodies and players in the second semester.
Trying to think of some of the returning players we might see. Maybe a Zoe Bradshaw.
Yeah, Zoe will be back. Rainey Whitworth.
Yep, right.
Claire Hotelin.
Yep.
So they've got a great core back. Long shot, just over the top of the goal.
And kind of no man's land for the goalie Rouse that time.
Oh, here's the corner kick again. Just sails it wide.
Ramirez tried to get it.
You got Rouse listed at 6 foot, so getting up there to the 9 foot mark is pretty easy for him. You always like your goalies.
Well, I hadn't really thought about that. I mean, how important is it to have a athletic goalie, obviously, who's got some height to him?
Oh, tremendous. Then you can't get the ball lofted over the top of your head.
You don't see too many 6'11" goalies, though, right?
You don't, unless you talk about a man named Akeem Olajuwon, who used to play center for the Houston Rockets.
Right, yeah. The dream.
Yeah, he was a soccer player to begin with, came to the United States to play basketball.
But soccer coaches don't go out and look for guys 6'9" who can play goal.
No, the 6 foot to 6'2", 6'3" mark is great for a goalie. Long
and
arms.
of course, I would imagine this is like basketball to a certain degree. Height's nice, but jumping ability would be even nicer, I suppose.
And quickness.
Yeah.
You see Widener playing safe and just clearing the ball out for another throw-in for the Knights.
Knights have kind of stabilized things after Widener got their last goal, but the Knights have been unable to crack the scoreboard today.
And we got a couple substitutions. In for Widener is Steve Yarish for Dylan Pratzner. And for Southern Virginia, Alexander Dubé for Carlos Munoz and Sam Kelly for Josh Smith.
Knights have done a lot more substituting today than Wednesday against W&L. A lot of players getting some minutes today that didn't see action on Wednesday, like Hogan and Palmer.
And we don't know if that was by design or what the game plan was from Washington Lee to now. But this is great that some of these kids are getting some game experience in it, because we've seen Brahima Mulabal over on the side. You never know when an injury could happen or a sickness or illness could happen, and someone's going to have to step up and play in that spot.
Here's Dubé with it. Trying to work for an opening. And hopefully Mulabal will be able to play when we see these guys on Thursday against Roanoke.
Yeah, if he does, I'm sure it'll be limited minutes. But again, it's going to be tough for him to step back in and play with these guys. He hasn't been able to play with them for the last 3 or 4 weeks.
So once we get to that Roanoke game, there's only one more non-conference game, Bridgewater, on the 23rd, before you start playing conference play at St. Mary's on the 26th of September.
Yeah, that'll be a doubleheader with the men and the women up at St. Mary's. And I know the women are looking for kind of payback from last year because St. Mary's game knocked them out of the CAC tournament. Ball's loose in the middle. Greg Allen has it taken away from him. And again, just those opportunities of the ball being right in the middle of the field, just the Knights haven't been able to take advantage of.
And Widener seemingly has kind of reduced its offensive aggressiveness and kind of maybe gone more into a defensive mode. Does it seem like that to you?
Yeah, I think they're into the mode now of we got 3 goals. We have it in the bag. Let's just make sure that the Knights don't really mount any kind of attack.
And now the clock a huge factor with less than 14 minutes to go. And a 3-0 game here. Widener on top.
We'll see Widener's really start to take their time. We know that they tried to start fast off of each penalty or foul at the beginning of the game, and especially in the first half. We'll see them probably take a couple seconds to set things up.
Good steal there by the Knights, by Hogan. Smedley trying to do something with it. Comes way back outside, though.
We talked earlier about the Knights playing a 4-3-3 with the 4 being the 4 defensemen in the back. If we look at the Widener, they've kind of reversed it. They go 3-4-4, getting more attackers going upfield, and that's what we've seen all game.
Carroll gets it over to Lonergan.
Try to keep it in and save a few valuable seconds.
Yeah, Widener's done a pretty good job today disrupting those SV passes.
Again, a lot of people forward, getting into the passing lane, and just really, we talked about it earlier just briefly, physical. They use their shoulders and hips really well to knock the Knights off their runs.
Ramirez was bumped to the turf twice.
Finally got the call.
Been a clean game, no cards today.
Very clean game. Well played, really, for stretches by both teams. Obviously, with Widener ahead by 3, they've played just a little bit better.
Rouse was able to dodge a bullet there as Cox tried to get it around Rouse.
Yeah, Cox tried to get up there and head it in. Rouse was just able to, because he couldn't use his hands, able to get it a little bit higher.
We mentioned it's going to be a busy week coming up for the men's soccer team. They're in action on the road on Tuesday, coming up on Tuesday at Fairman. Then again, we'll have them in that home game coming up on Thursday against Roanoke College. And I know you talked about it, Mike, how difficult it'll be to play basically 2 games in about 48 hours.
Yeah, quick turnaround. A lot of the team will probably be in the training room getting a lot of therapy done and probably using some ice baths trying to get the muscles rejuvenated and regenerated, but also a very quick turnaround, only 1 practice to prepare for the next game.
A couple of players bang into each other. Kyle Lynch for Widener. Court Cox still down for the Knights.
And had a foul called earlier up the field. Again, the Widener's not trying to hold the ball back by any means. They're bringing the ball down into the offensive zone rather quickly.
Christian Rice back in, replacing, looks like Smedley.
Smedley's going out.
Rice got the start on Wednesday against WNL. Good young player from Perry McClure High School.
Foul on Widener as Knights are able to get the throw in now.
You know, we talked about, I think on Wednesday, about Rice being a good place kicker in high school. Makes me think about, is it even possible for a soccer player who's a good place kicker for football to play two sports at the same time in the fall?
No, there'd be no way because of the conference schedule.
For those who like to use good soccer players as place kickers, as they do, I guess, in some cases, looking for good place kickers off the soccer team.
Yeah, you just recruit them out of high school, and because football only plays on Saturday and the conference schedules are all on Wednesdays or Tuesdays and Saturdays, there'd be no way that they could make that transition. Now, if one played in the spring, one played in the fall,
right,
then
yep.
there could be that overlap.
If that ever happened, if you saw soccer in the spring rather than the fall, it makes you wonder how many guys would double up and maybe be a place kicker on a football team.
I know there'd be a lot of football coaches out there recruiting off the
Right.
soccer team. Ball's chipped in. Longer is able to get it out.
Widener trying to get a fourth goal here in the last 8 minutes, but Keenan Carroll outraces the Widener player to the ball.
Joubert with the ball.
Gets it over to Lonigan.
Just wasn't able to keep it in. You know, and that's just been the Knights' fortune all day. Just not able to get the goal. Just not able to keep it in. Just not able to make that one extra pass that would have led to a goal. Now there's a lot of subs in for both teams. We hope that nothing gets chippy here. We want to make sure that we end this game nice and clean.
I haven't seen too many incidents. Saw the one that involved maybe, I think, Cox, where he got tripped after, and then some words were exchanged, but that was about it.
And the Knights just not able to manufacture goals. Great opportunities we've seen, just not able to manufacture the goal off those opportunities.
And Ramirez gets it over to the left side to Lonergan now. He races to control it.
Referee says it went out, so we'll have a goal kick now. And you see now how Widener's slowing things down. Earlier in the first half and in this half, they would have been trying to start that ball as quickly as possible. Now taking their time as they bring the ball up. And with a 3-goal lead, they really don't have to force any action whatsoever.
Knights, obviously, Mike, going to lose this game, it looks like, but they would like to get on the scoreboard in the final 6 minutes before it's all said and done.
Yeah, it's
got a goal against Washington Lee on Wednesday, goal against Randolph last week. Just 2 goals, though, on the season.
Yeah, and we were looking for them to double that output today, and it looked like in the first 10 minutes of the first half they were going to do that.
Had a penalty kick by Munoz that couldn't convert on that. So they're going to go to 0-5 on the season. And through 5 games, just have those 2 goals. See if things turn around maybe against Ferrum on Tuesday on the road.
Yeah, it'd be nice to see them really take a step up offensively. Again, we've seen a lot more opportunities that they've manufactured. Now we just got to see them execute and finish.
Christian Rice trying to outrace the Widener player to the ball. Now Hogan, left side with it for the Knights. Sends it toward the goal and sends it over.
Again, we'll see Widener take a lot of time off the clock now before they get it started.
Now it's the goalie getting ready to kick it. mentioned they took a lot of time just doing that. Took 10, 15 seconds off the clock.
Yeah, as opposed to earlier, they would have got the ball in as quickly as possible to start it up.
Ramirez's pass goes right by Lonigan out of bounds.
And you don't want to talk a lot about luck, but I know coaches and players believe in it, whether they want to say it or not. And right now, there's an old song that says, if it weren't for bad luck, we'd have no luck at all. And it just seems like the Knights have just been on that bad luck streak. And finding that first goal before the other team gets a goal
right.
would change it drastically.
Now, will the coaches after a game like this just kind of write this one off, or
really
they'll tackle it?
They'll go headlong into this, film sessions, being able to point things out. Again, we saw how they came out and performed well in that first 10 minutes, and I think that was something that they really stressed from the WNL game to today. Now they'll stress again, okay, we've created these opportunities. Now, guys, we have to finish. But now it's in the players' court. The coaches can only come up with systems and draw up so many things, and we've seen the opportunities present themselves for the Knights. Now the Knights team has to actually do something. The coaches can't come off and score for them, although I know Coach Patino would love to. If he could, he'd be out there trying to get the ball in the goal.
Did you ever tell your team that? I can't score baskets for you.
Oh, yeah. We talked about that all the time.
Okay. I can foul for you, but I can't score baskets for you.
Yeah, we'd be watching film, and we'd chart where most of the shots came from, and a lot of our offense came from within 8 to 10 feet of the basket, and we'd show them, we can get you these shots, but we can't make them for you. So, again, that's the coach's job is to come up with a system and have the players execute that system as well as possible. That's how coaches make their living. Then the players have to actually finish it off.
Nice attempt at a headshot there for a goal, but it went awry. And I know it's tough enough, Mike, to control shots that you use your foot for, but I mean headshots are, I got to imagine, really difficult to guide into the goal.
Yeah, those are something that people want to say, well, that was just all luck. There's a lot of skill involved in that, and you have to strike it just at the right time.
And the right angle, obviously.
And the right angle.
Christian Rice can't save it. Under 2 minutes to go now. Well, to recap again, coming up on Wednesday, we will have women's soccer action for you as the Knights take on Randolph. Then the following day, Thursday night, on the 17th, we'll have men's soccer action against Roanoke. And then a week from today, football ready to go. The Knights taking on Frostburg next Saturday, 1 o'clock, in their home opener in the 2015 football season. And, of course, also on the road today, volleyball action. Southern Virginia in the WNL tournament. They lost this morning and are playing, I guess, this afternoon against Lynchburg, right?
Lynchburg, yeah, they're taking them on again.
And Widener player goes down hard with just about a minute to go. And it's Lucas Montesinos shaking his right hand.
And in volleyball action, the Knights are beating Lynchburg 1-0. And they're up 23-13 in the, they're behind 23-13 in the second.
They won the first game 25-18, I think.
Yes.
So a good start as they try to get at least one of those four matches.
Be nice to split today.
They lost 2 matches yesterday on Friday. Final few seconds here, ticking off. Widener is going to improve to 1-3-1 on the season with this victory, a 3-0 victory, and Southern Virginia going to drop Mike to 0-5 now on the year.
Yeah, and again, a lot of good things we saw from the Knights, especially in the first 10 minutes. A lot of manufacturing opportunities for goals. Now the Knights just have to go on and finish those off.
So again, the Knights lose here today to Widener, 3-0 your final score. Don't forget, we'll have plenty of action coming up for you in the next week or so. Women's soccer action against Randolph coming up Wednesday night. Thursday night, we'll have these men taking on Roanoke College in men's soccer action. And 1 week from today, the 2015 home football opener for the Knights will be taking on Frostburg next Saturday at 1 o'clock. And the Knights soccer team, men's soccer team, Mike, they've got Ferrum coming up on the road on Tuesday, and then, as we mentioned, Thursday, hosting Roanoke.
Yeah, they have a day off. They'll get everything rested up. Monday they'll get back in for a quick practice and a film session. They'll go down and they'll play, and then have another day, try to rest up and film session and practice, and then another game. So a huge and quick turnaround now for the Knights. The biggest thing they have to do is take care of those opportunities at the very early part of the game, get up on their opponents, and then have their opponents chase them instead of them always doing the chasing.
So we're going to shutout victory today for Widener. They blank Southern Virginia. Final score, once again, Widener 3 and Southern Virginia University nothing. That's going to wrap things up here from the fields at Southern Virginia University. For Mike Harmon and all the crew, I'm Jim Bresnahan. Thanks for joining us today.